I've told you that if I don't 100%, if I am on the fence a little bit about things, I'm going to let you know. And as I'm studying through, and we still got a long way to go, we'll probably end the study of Revelation in May of 30, something like that. I don't know. That's going to be a while. But as we're studying through this, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be able to find out about this great tribulation. I have an idea what it is, and I'm leaning towards view 2, but view 1 has a really potential strong view. So here's 2 views, many others, but 2 views that I've been struggling with. So again, these are open-handed and closed-handed. These are open-handed, all right? These are, what is this great tribulation that is coming through? And number 1 idea is there are people that came out of the end of time. In other words, Antichrist has risen and reigned, and they endure to the end. Now, this is not Jews, this is all nations. Could this be that as things get worser and worser and what? Worser. Things are getting worser and worser, and it might hit the fan, and it could hit the fan with the real Antichrist, or does that mean mini Antichrist with the big guy at the end? We're still going to get to that. But this view of these are the people that came out of the Great Tribulation, could this mean that they are representative of the people at the end? Yeah, it sounds like it, but it's at the end, and since it's a great multitude, of all nations as well. But they emphasize this great tribulation. But when you actually look at the original language, the word great is not necessarily in there. It's more of this idea of it's just getting worser and worser and worser. So could that be, if there's a real Antichrist, not a little bunch of little Antichrists, could this be? The answer is sure. All right, but this view number 2 kind of seems that fits a whole lot more into this Revelation idea and this whole symbols, which are this great tribulation represents Jesus' followers of the world who have endured suffering, who have endured persecution, who have endured trials and tribulations of the world because of their follower Jesus Christ. So let's study the word tribulation. So the word tribulation, the original word is, okay, which means, did you catch it? All right. You can figure it out. Okay. Phonics didn't work for me. Okay, here you go. To crush, to press together, to squash, to hem, to compress, to squeeze. Basically this idea of this entire pressing down and a burdensome with the hardships and the inconveniences. It also talks about how it's talking about more pressure in the medical word. But at the same time, the example of this tribulation is this pressing together, kind of like the illustration of grapes. If you've ever seen a grape press, you put grapes in it, and you just turn this thing, and the turny thing makes this thingy go down, and it starts pressing the what? The grapes, and then the juice comes out. So the pressing down of it. That's what tribulation is, the pressing down. So we can represent the grapes pressing down. Our blood was poured out, and Jesus was persecuted, his blood poured out. So it's kind of talk about the same thing, the tribulation, the hardship of sin. This suffering that we have is because of sin. Ultimately, Adam and Eve, they sinned, and now, ladies, when you have to birth a baby, does it hurt? Don't blame the man, blame Eve. Okay, all right, got it? Why? Because sin entered the world, and so we see that in Genesis 3, that because of that, the result of physical now pain. And then men, you complain about working hard. Don't blame your boss. Blame who? Adam. Because of that, sin entered the world, so the physical pressing down, instead of living our life the way it should be, and we'll see at the end of Revelation that it will be. People will hate you and be pressed down upon you. And as it gets worse and worse and worse, ladies and gentlemen, this tribulation, which I believe we're living in the tribulation right now and have been ever since the beginning of the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the birth of the early church and the Holy Spirit coming. We've been living in this tribulation because we've been pressed down, and